for its mind. This, unfortunately, has resulted in a state of schizophrenic behavior.
Yes.
And we only have to look at the question posed to us by Professor Mutahi Nguni. Is it remotely possible for Raila to go to Kericho, abuse Ruto, and Kalenjins cheer him wildly?
Of course not.
And can Ruto abuse Raila in Kisumu with Luos cheering?
Absolutely not.
But yet in the past 2 weeks and recently over the weekend, Ruto did just that in Uhuru's backyard. And Kikuyus cheered him on. So our conclusion, either Kikuyus have lost it or they are setting Ruto up. Now, I am of the opinion that Kikuyus have lost their mind. How else can you explain them accepting a total and utter disrespect on their own doorsteps, all with a smile on their faces?
Yeah.
The soul cannot agree with Ruto's actions, but the mind has been conditioned with 4 years of lies and falsehoods.
Correct. That's right.
In my view, we are not witnessing this kind of pro-Ruto movement, which is powered by Kikuyus.
Yeah.
In reality, what we are seeing is an anti-Uhuru movement. And by this, we mean that Gema will not vote for Ruto because they love him. Gema will vote for Ruto because they are upset with Uhuru. How foolish. But we want to explain what we are seeing in the mountain by using the Lucifer principle. In this book by Howard Bloom, he argues that evil is hardwired into our biological fabric. In essence, that means that good attracts evil and that the two are just different sides of the same coin.
Correct.
So in this case, the Lucifer principle would explain how those who we love the most are the people who we hurt in the worst way.
Yeah.
And because evil and good, love and hate are one and the same, Kikuyus are committing a crime of passion against their very own Uhuru Kenyatta.
Crime of passion.
Now, the Indian spiritual leader Sri Chinmoy said that hatred is a disguised form of love.
Yeah.
You can only hate someone whom you really wish to love. And that is the truth about the relationship between Gema and Uhuru.
Yep.
The more Gema hates Uhuru, the more likely they are to love him again.
Oh, yes.
And even that adoration that Ruto enjoys right now
Yeah.
can quickly turn into animosity and bitterness.
Well,
The moral here is this.
yeah.
You cannot trust the masses.
Yeah.
Because just like they did with Jesus, they will welcome you into Jerusalem shouting Hosanna, Hosanna on Sunday.
Yes.
And then they will crucify you on Friday. So happy weekend, Mr. Ruto, and best of luck in Gatundu.
Best of luck. At the UDA NDC earlier this week, something happened and went over everyone's head. William Ruto confessed that during the post-election violence, he hid from Mungiki in Jimmy Wanjigi'S house. Here is a clip.
And in 2007, wakati kulikuwa wajamaa hapa Nairobi ambao walikuwa natafuta rafiki yangu William Ruto, alikuja kwangu kujificha. Si munipigie makofi. Hapa Nairobi kulikuwa na organization inaitwa Mungiki, na walikuwa natafuta yeye. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Kweli.
Yes, William Ruto admitted that he indeed went into hiding because Mungiki threatened him. Question is why? What had he done that he had to hide from Mungiki? And why did he not report the threat to police like he did when he told us a committee of 42 members of cabinet were planning to assassinate him in 2019? Our hypothesis is that Ruto was running from Mungiki because of Kiambaa. Period. He knew what he had done. In fact, none other than Moses Kuria told us that ODM had planned a preemptive peace mission in Eldoret a day before Kiambaa happened. But they were prevailed to postpone the peace mission by a Pentagon member to give space for a major operation. Only for 35 women and children to burn alive in Kiambaa on that fateful day. Question is, who was that Pentagon member? Which Pentagon member was from Eldoret? Your guess is as good as mine. But I have another thought.
Yeah.
And this thought is reserved for the Kikuyu MPs in Ruto's camp. Professor Mutai Ngonyi always tells us that succession election attract two things, constitutional crisis and assassinations.
Yeah.
Today we will dwell on assassinations. And herein, I will plead temporary insanity and pose a hypothesis. What if there is a plan by Chief Hasler to assassinate a popular Kiambu MP? Before I explain my hypothesis, allow me to give you a story. In the 1997 general election in Gatundu, a young Uhuru Kenyatta was running against a man known as Moses Muhia. Muhia was a relatively popular man in Gatundu, but he wasn't so sure about beating young Uhuru. So to ensure a decisive win, he came up with a plan. He planned to kidnap himself. On Christmas Eve, Muhia went missing. His campaign team spread out word that State House operatives had kidnapped Muhia. They even placed his car next to a river to make it seem like Muhia had been killed. Violent protests rocked Gatundu. The masses demanded for his return. They even vowed that even if Muhia was dead, they would vote for him. Then on election day, Muhia showed up. Guess what? He scored 80% of the vote and beat young Uhuru Kenyatta. His trick to whip up the emotions of Gatundu people had worked. What's my point here? If Ruto wants over 90% of Gema to make him president, he knows he needs a more compelling argument than just the economy.
Yeah.
He needs to introduce a more emotional variable, and that variable is life. To put it differently, if a popular Kikuyu in his camp disappears or is assassinated, Ruto becomes the beneficiary. If Ruto can sacrifice his relationship with his boss to become president, it means he is capable of sacrificing his foot soldiers. And if he sacrifices his foot soldiers, he will blame it on Uhuru, just like Muhia did. Therefore, to Rigathi Gachagua, Moses Kuria, and that Ishungwa fellow, and Ndindi Nyoro and co, watch your back, gentlemen.